Imagine for a moment I arrived at my daughter's wedding. She was a woman I dedicated my entire life to. But she just said to me, "Dad, I am sorry, but you were not invited. Please leave." I left in silence, my heart shattered by her betrayal. But less than 2 hours later, her perfect wedding turned into a nightmare. Revenge was not justice. The champagne glass slipped right from my fingers. Shards of glass scattered across the marble floor like fallen stars. Each piece reflected the horror on my daughter Emma's face. Her voice cut the elegant murmur of the wedding guests. "Dad, what are you doing here?" Her wedding dress, a gown that cost me $12,000, rustled as she backed away. "You were not supposed to come." I stood frozen at the grand ballroom's entrance, still holding the gift box I wrapped myself. White roses filled every corner, their fragrance mixed with expensive perfumes and silent judgments. The huge chandelier above projected rainbow patterns on the walls. That one item had cost me 3 months of profit just to rent. "Honey, it's your wedding day," I said. My voice sounded smaller than I intended. "I wanted to congratulate you both." Michael appeared at her side. His tuxedo was perfectly tailored. His smile was as sharp as winter. "Mr. Clark," he said, "I think there has been a misunderstanding." "What misunderstanding?" I looked between them. I searched Emma's face for the little girl who used to beg me to push her higher on the swings. Emma looked at the guests watching us. Women in designer dresses whispered behind crystal glasses of champagne. Men in $1,000 suits pretended not to look while listening to every word. "This is a private family celebration," she said, her voice tight with shame. "Immediate family only?" Connection, the words hit like ice water. 29 years of bedtime stories, school plays, and dance recitals collapsed in that single phrase. 29 years of prioritizing her college fund over my own retirement, her happiness over my comfort. "I paid for this wedding, Emma." The words came out firm and factual. "Every flower, every plate, the dress you are wearing." Michael's jaw tightened. "Money does not buy class, sir." "Michael is right," Emma whispered without looking me in the eye. "This isn't about money. It's about fitting in. You do not understand the kind of people here." I understood perfectly. The construction workers who built their houses were not welcome at their parties. The man who had sacrificed everything so his daughter could marry into their world had served his purpose. All around us, conversations had stopped completely. A photographer lowered his camera. The string quartet kept playing, oblivious to the drama. "I see." I placed the gift box on a nearby table, between intact champagne flutes and white orchids. "I would not want to embarrass you, Dad." Emma's voice was low. "Please do not make this harder than it needs to be." I studied her face. I memorized the features I had kissed goodnight for 18 years. Her mother's green eyes, now as cold as river stones. The smile I had worked overtime to pay for braces, now turned away from me. "You are right," I said quietly. "I do not belong here." The walk to the exit stretched out like a marathon. Designer heels echoed against the marble. The whispered conversation started again behind me. Somebody laughed a high, artificial laugh. My work boots, polished for the occasion, felt heavy against the immaculate floor. Outside, the springtime air hit my lungs like freedom. The parking lot stretched before me. It was filled with luxury cars I could never afford. My pickup truck stood alone in the far corner. It was exactly where it belonged in her world. I reached for my phone. My fingers were firm, despite everything. 25 years of building a business from nothing had taught me patience. 25 years of loving an ungrateful daughter had taught me the true value of loyalty. The screen lit up with missed calls from my lawyer about a property dispute. I bypassed them to find a different number. It was one I had not dialed in months, but suddenly I needed it. My thumb hovered over the contact name. U.S. Bank Business Services. Inside that ballroom, my daughter was celebrating her new life without me. Outside, I was about to begin my own without her. The phone rang once before someone answered. The heavy doors sealed behind me. It had the finality of a vault closing. The wedding music faded to whispers. I walked across the asphalt toward my truck. Every step was more deliberate than the last. The gift box remained on its table, abandoned, just like everything else I had given them. The March wind carried the scent of approaching rain. Darker clouds gathered over the venue's Gothic towers. They cast shadows over the luxury vehicles that cost more than most people's homes. My boots crunched on the gravel as I reached my truck. My keys were already in my hand. Inside the cab, silence enveloped me like armor. The clock on the dashboard showed 3:47 p.m. It was enough time before the banks closed on a Saturday. Enough time to make several important calls. I slid through my contacts until I found what I needed. First, U.S. Bank, Business Services. My finger hesitated for exactly 3 seconds before I pressed dial. U.S. Bank, this is Sarah. How may I help you? Sarah, I am David Clark. Account number 7794512. I need to initiate a stop payment on several authorized transactions. Sarah, Mr. Clark, let me access your account. Can you verify your social security number and your mother's maiden name? E-rail procedure. I provided the information. I watched guests arrive through the venue's main entrance. Women in silk dresses, men adjusting expensive cufflinks. None of them knew what was about to happen. Thank you. I see several large transactions from today. Which one specifically? Every item rolled off my tongue like an inventory. Redskins. Sir, these are significant amounts. Are you sure you want to stop all payments? Completely sure. Then, there has been a change in circumstances. Keyboard clicks filled the pause. I will need authorization codes for transactions over $9,000. I recited the codes from memory. 25 years of running a construction business had taught me to remember every important number, every contract detail, and payment authorization. The payments are stopped. Confirmation numbers are now generating. Is there anything else? That covers the banking side. Thank you, Sarah. Clist call was to Los Angeles Catering. It was the same company Emma had insisted on using, despite their astronomical prices. Elegant Events, Catering, Alex speaking. Kuss. This is David Clark. I am calling about the Anderson wedding reception happening now. Negligent. Oh yes, Mr. Clark, everything is going wonderfully. The guests are praising the appetizers. I am afraid there has been a financial complication. The payment authorization has been revoked. You will want to protect your equipment and the remaining food service. Silence stretched between us. Then, I am sorry. What exactly are you saying? The bank has stopped payment on your contract effective immediately. I suggest you secure your assets. But we are in the middle of service. The main course has not even been served. It is an unfortunate time. My voice remained firm and professional. You may want to speak with the bride and groom about alternate payment arrangements. Alex disconnected without another word. That was easy. The florist answered on the second ring. Beverly Hills Flowers. Julia speaking. Leah, this is David Clark regarding the Anderson wedding flowers. Mr. Clark, the arrangements look stunning. The bride was so pleased with the orchids. Inconvenient, there has been a payment issue. The bank authorization has been canceled. You will need to collect your arrangements if you want to salvage any value. They are integrated into the whole venue design. Unresolved, Julia. I suggest you act fast. 3 more calls followed. Photography services, the string quartet, even the linen rental company. Each conversation followed the same pattern. Professional courtesy, then increasing alarm, then hurried disconnections.
The vendors rushed to protect themselves.
My phone showed 4:15 p.m. when the last call ended. Through the windshield, I saw a white catering van pull up to the venue's service entrance. It was probably Alex coming to salvage what he could. Inside that ballroom, Emma was probably still greeting guests. She was blissfully ignorant that her perfect wedding was about to become a very expensive lesson. Michael was probably discussing business with his father's friends. He was confident in his superiority over simple construction workers. Neither of them understood what this day had really cost them. I turned on the engine and backed out of the parking space. I drove slowly past the venue's main entrance. Through the tall windows, I caught glimpses of the reception in progress. Crystal glasses were raised in toasts. Elegant figures moved across polished floors. Everything was about to change. My phone vibrated with an incoming call. Emma's name appeared on the screen. I let it ring. The dashboard clock read 4:20 p.m. when the first truck arrived. It was Beverly Hills Flowers. It was painted in elegant script on the white panel. Julia was at the wheel with 2 assistants in the passenger seat. They parked near the service entrance. They unloaded empty containers with business efficiency. Through the venue windows, I could see the cocktail reception in full swing. Crystal glasses caught the light from the chandelier. Guests mingled around Emma's imported orchids. Michael was gesturing widely to a circle of men in expensive suits. He was probably explaining his latest venture. Neither the bride nor the groom noticed the florist's crew entering through the side doors. Emma was near the main entrance. She was radiant in $12,000 of silk and pearls. She was accepting congratulations from a steady stream of relatives. Her laughter rang across the glittering ballroom. Soon that sound would change. Julia appeared in the ballroom doorway with two large plastic containers. She walked directly to the main altar arrangement. Her assistants flanked the lesser displays. Guests started to turn. Confusion replaced celebration as the crew began dismantling the centerpiece. "Excuse me?" Emma approached Julia with the practiced smile of someone used to handling staff. "We are in the middle of our reception. Whatever you need can wait until after." Julia straightened, holding a spray of white orchids. "Ma'am, I am Julia from Beverly Hills Flowers. The payment authorization for these arrangements was canceled 40 minutes ago. I need to recover our property." Emma's smile wavered, but it held. "That is impossible. Everything was paid for weeks ago." The account holder, David Clark, contacted us directly. "All payments have been stopped." Julia continued removing flowers with professional detachment. "I have written authorization to collect our arrangements." The color drained from Emma's face. Around her, guests had stopped talking completely. Michael strode across the room in quick strides. His expression was changing from confusion to anger. "What exactly is going on here?" His voice carried the authority of someone not used to being questioned. "Payment issues, sir. We are collecting unpaid merchandise." Julia's assistant began wrapping the altar arrangement in protective plastic. "This is completely unacceptable." Michael's face flushed. "Call your manager immediately." "This is not equals. I am the manager. Our contract clearly states that canceled payments void our service obligations." Julia motioned to her assistants. They began collecting the centerpieces while guests watched in stunned silence. The elegant events catering van pulled up outside. Julia's crew continued their systematic removal. Alex emerged with 3 staff members. Their faces were grim and determined. They entered through the main doors this time, making no attempt at discretion. Emma watched the orchids disappear into containers. Her perfect composure was cracking like fine china. "There has to be some mistake. My dad would not do that. He could not." "Ma'am, we need to cease food service immediately." Alex approached with a clipboard in hand. "The payment authorization was revoked at 4:15. We are contractually obligated to protect our equipment and remaining inventory." Michael stepped in between Alex and Emma. His voice was rising. "This is my wedding reception. You cannot just stop service in the middle of an event." "Sir, we can and we must. When payment authorization is canceled, standard procedure requires immediate asset protection." Alex gestured to his crew. They began covering the service stations with white tablecloths. Guests shifted nervously, intact champagne glasses in their hands. The conversations had reduced to worried whispers. Someone's phone rang, shrill and intrusive in the tense atmosphere. The string quartet stopped playing as their equipment coordinator arrived. Microphones went silent, speakers went dead. Even the ambient lighting shifted as the sound technician unplugged his mixing board. Emma stood frozen in the center of her collapsing reception. Her pristine wedding dress was in the middle of the chaos of disappearing services. "This cannot be happening. Not today. Not like this." "Emma, what kind of arrangement did your family make?" Michael's voice carried new suspicion. His anger was redirecting from the vendors to his new bride. "I do not know. Everything was supposed to be handled." Her voice broke with the first hint of genuine panic. The venue coordinator appeared. A phone was pressed to his ear as he spoke in urgent whispers. He approached Emma with obvious reluctance. "Mrs. Anderson, I just spoke with our accounting department. All payments for today's event came from a single account belonging to David Clark. That account holder has now revoked authorization for every single transaction." Emma's composure broke completely. The girl who had been dismissed from her own celebration was finally understanding the full scope of her father's generosity and the consequences of her cruelty. She pulled out her phone. Her fingers were trembling. She slid to a familiar contact. Outside in the parking lot, my phone began to ring. My phone vibrated against the dashboard. Emma's name lit up the screen. Through the windshield, I could see her silhouette in the venue doorway. Her phone was pressed to her ear with desperate urgency. I did not answer, not yet. 25 years of loving that woman had led to this moment. 25 years of believing that sacrifice would build character instead of destroy it. She was 3 years old when her mother died. Cancer took Helen in 6 brutal months. It left me with a small girl who asked for mommy every morning and night. I could have remarried quickly, found someone to help raise her. Instead, I chose to be everything Emma needed myself. Dad, will you read me one more story? She would ask at age 5. She was curled up against my chest in her pink pajamas. I had already read 3 books. I had an early meeting with potential investors. But her green eyes, Helen's eyes, held such trust. Of course, sweetie. Dad always has time for you. That became my motto. David Clark always had time for Emma, and money, and whatever she needed to be happy. The private school tuition consumed half my quarterly profits when she turned 8. The best education money could buy, I told myself, writing the checks. That meant fewer business expansions and smaller personal budgets. Emma would hug me when I told her about the Riverside Academy. Thank you, Dad. I will study so hard and make you proud. Days through grade school. School plays where I would sit in the front row. My calloused construction hands clapped louder than any other parent. Emma would find me afterward. She was beaming with achievement. You saw me remember all my lines, Dad. I thought of you the whole time. High school changed things. Riverside Academy meant wealthy peers with trust funds and summer houses. Emma started to notice differences. Her quinceañera party cost more than some people's cars. A BMW in the driveway, professional catering, designer decorations. Everyone else has a BMW, Dad. This Honda is a little embarrassing. That was in 2015. It was the first time money became expected instead of appreciated. I should have recognized the red flag. College expenses nearly broke the business expansion I had planned. The USC, Emma's dream school, required sacrifices beyond tuition. Sorority fees, spring break trips to Cancun, study abroad programs in Italy. Each semester brought new financial demands. Dad, I need $3,000 for the business fraternity trip. It is essential for networking. The calls became transactional requests. Home visits shrank to parties. Only when Emma called did the conversation last just long enough to explain why she needed money and how fast she needed it. Graduate school brought Michael into her life. Old money, family connections, everything I could not provide despite decades of hard work. Emma started making comments about my appearance at family gatherings. Could you wear something other than those work boots when you come? Michael's friends will be there. The woman who once thanked me for bedtime stories was now embarrassed by the man who had provided everything she ever wanted. Success in construction meant nothing to her new social circle. Building the company that funded her lifestyle made me unsuitable for her lifestyle. Last Thanksgiving, she introduced me to Michael's parents as Emma's dad, who has a small business. Small business. 25 years of building Clark Construction from scratch, employing 60 people, earning enough to support her princess life. Reduced to small business. Regas, we need to talk about wedding financing. Emma's voice was all business. Michael's family has certain expectations for the ceremony. Not, thank you for offering to pay, not, we would be grateful for your help. Just expectations, as if my life's work existed only to fulfill their social requirements. The wedding planning meetings felt like business negotiations. Emma brought spreadsheets. Michael offered opinions on cost efficiency. Neither acknowledged that each item represented months of my labor. Imported flowers, champagne that cost more per bottle than my workers made in a day, a dress worth more than most people's monthly rent. This isn't about money, Dad. It is about quality. Michael's family knows quality. Quality that my money bought, but my presence diminished. The very success that enabled her dream wedding made me too common to attend it. My phone vibrated again. Emma's third attempt in 5 minutes. Through the venue windows, I could see her pacing. Her wedding dress was trailing behind her like a flag of surrender. 25 years of sacrifice had created this moment. Not a grateful daughter celebrating her father's generosity. It was a desperate woman finally understanding what she had lost. The irony was perfect. The love that had spoiled her would now teach her its true value. I reached for the phone. It was time to answer. The engine hummed quietly as I backed out of the parking lot. Emma's frantic silhouette was shrinking in my rearview mirror. Her phone was glowing like a beacon in the gathering twilight. It was calling me for the 7th time in 10 minutes. Each ring felt deliberate, controlled. My timing, not hers. The drive home took 20 minutes through Saturday afternoon Los Angeles traffic. 20 minutes watching my phone light up with Emma's name. Each call was more desperate than the last. By the time I reached my driveway, she had left 4 voicemails. I listened to them as I sat in the garage. The engine was off. The garage door was closing behind me like a curtain falling on the day's first act. Camouflage 1. Dad, something is wrong with the payments. There has been a mistake. Call me immediately. Message 2. This is not funny anymore. The vendors are taking everything. People are staring. Just call me. Message 3. Please, Dad. I do not understand what is happening. Michael's family is asking questions I cannot answer. Message 4. Her voice broke. I need you. Please answer, please. The phone rang again as the 4th message ended. Emma's name appeared on the screen. It was accompanied by a photo from her college graduation. The last time she hugged me without needing money. I answered on the 5th ring. Hello, Emma. Dad, finally. What have you done? How could you destroy my wedding? Her voice carried pure panic now. There was none of the controlled dismissal from earlier that afternoon. Panic meant awareness. Awareness was the first step toward understanding. I did not destroy anything, I said. I kept my voice level. I simply stopped paying for things. You cannot just stop? This is my wedding day. There are 60 people here asking why the flowers left and why the dinner service stopped. Forfeit, are you calling from? The hotel. We had to. The venue coordinator said we needed to settle accounts before we could stay, so they asked us to leave. That explained the echo in her voice, the absence of wedding music in the background. Emma, I need you to listen carefully. When was the last time you thanked me for something? What, Dad? This is not a time for lectures. I need you to call these vendors and fix this mess. Answer the question. When was the last time you expressed genuine gratitude for my financial support? Unsuccessful, stretched between us. In the background, I could hear Michael's voice. It was sharp with frustration. I cannot remember specific instances, but I have always been grateful. You know that. Minimized actually know that. What I do know is that 3 hours ago you told me I did not belong at your wedding, a wedding I paid for in full. Commentarios, I did not mean it like that. I was stressed. Wedding day nerves. Her voice shifted. It adopted the wheedling tone she had perfected in college. She used it when asking for spring break money. Dad, please. I will make it up to you. We can talk about everything later, but right now I need you to authorize the payments to save what is left of the reception. What is left? The cake is still here. Some of the guests are still here. The photographer is waiting to see if we can work something out. And what do you plan to use to pay for it? Another pause, longer this time. I thought you would handle it. You always handle it. Handled it. That is true. Do you know how much I have spent on you in the last 25 years? Complied, Dad. Please, do not make me guess numbers now. I am in crisis mode. Give me a rough estimate. I do not know. Maybe $60,000? I almost laughed. $60,000 would not have covered her second year at USC. Emma, I have spent over $900,000 on your education, housing, transportation, and lifestyle since your mother died. That does not include what I spent today. The line was still. Only the sound of her breathing broke the silence. $900,000, that cannot be right. It is conservative. I have documentation for every expense. Why are you telling me this now? Because you have never asked. In 25 years, you have never once inquired about the cost of your lifestyle. You have never expressed concern about the burden you placed on me. Our daughter. And I loved you enough to sacrifice everything for your happiness. The question is, what have you sacrificed for mine? Michael's voice grew louder in the background. She covered the phone for a moment. His muffled argument was barely audible. Dad, Michael's family is very upset. They are asking questions about our finances. They want to know how we are going to pay for this, between you and your husband. But I do not have that kind of money. You know I do not have it. Then maybe it is time you learn to earn it. The silence that followed lasted almost 30 seconds. What do you want from me? I want you to understand what you threw away this afternoon. You dismissed the man who made your entire lifestyle possible, and now I was wrong. Can we fix this? We will see. I am reviewing our entire financial relationship. There will be documentation. We will discuss this properly. Wilmington. When I am ready. I ended the call and turned my phone off. Through my kitchen window, I could see the lights of Los Angeles beginning to twinkle in the distance. Emma was somewhere out there. She was facing her first night of financial independence. The education was just beginning. The warm glow of my desk lamp cast familiar shadows across 25 years of meticulous record-keeping. Filing cabinets lined one wall of my home office like sentinels. They were guarding secrets Emma had never bothered to ask about. Tonight, those secrets would finally serve their purpose. My coffee steamed next to my computer. I opened the first drawer, which was labeled Emma's Education, 2000 to 2025. Behind me, the house settled into the quiet of the night, but my mind was buzzing with the systematic energy that had built Clark Construction from nothing to a 60-employee operation. This was not revenge, it was an audit. The first folder was Riverside Academy. It contained 12 years of private school tuition. Every payment was documented with bank transfers and semester reports. $9,000 a year in 2000, rising to $12,000 by graduation. The math was sobering. It was over $100,000 just for her grade school and high school education. I created a new spreadsheet. My fingers moved automatically across the keyboard. Column headers were date, description, amount, category, and running total. 25 years of fatherhood were reduced to data points and formulas. The USC folder came next. It was thicker than the others. It was bulging with dorm contracts, meal plan agreements, study abroad program fees, and tuition alone. It was $50,000 a year for 4 years. Room and board was another $15,000 annually. Spring break in Cancun during her junior year was $3,000. The summer in Italy during her art history phase was $8,000. Essential for my education, Dad, she had said about Italy. This is how people in my program make contacts. Page after page, receipt after receipt, the numbers climbed. The USC total was $250,000. 4 years of college cost more than most people earned in 5 years of work. The transportation folder revealed its own patterns. First car at 16, a reliable Honda Civic for $18,000. Everyone else drives BMWs, she complained in 6 months. Second car at 19, a BMW 320i for $27,000. Third car at 25, a BMW X3, because Michael's friends drove luxury SUVs. Each car came with insurance premiums, maintenance costs, and registration fees. Emma never saw them. Hidden expenses that good parents absorbed without comment. My phone vibrated. Emma's name appeared on the screen again. I let it ring. I added another entry to my spreadsheet. iPhone 14 Pro Max, $1,200. Style expenses folder held the darkest surprises. Post-graduation apartment in Beverly Hills, $2,400 monthly rent for 3 years. Credit card payments for when her spending exceeded the generous allowance I provided. An average of $900 monthly for 2 years. Designer clothing purchases, spa treatments, vacation trips with friends whose parents funded similar lifestyles. The totals grew like compound interest. Education, $350,000. Transportation, $60,000. Housing support, $110,000. Personal expenses, $150,000. Wedding, $140,000. My calculator showed $900,000. Almost $900,000 spent gradually over 25 years. Each expense seemed reasonable in isolation. Private school was an investment in her future. College opened doors. A reliable car ensured safety. Nice clothes built confidence. The wedding celebrated love. But the pattern told a different story. Emma had never contributed a single dollar to her own support. She never held a job for more than 6 months. She never expressed concern about the costs or gratitude for the sacrifices. I opened the photo albums I had kept throughout her childhood. Emma, at age 8, with a gap-toothed grin after her first school play. "Thanks for coming, Dad. Did you see how everyone clapped?" Emma at 12, triumphant after winning the spelling bee. "I thought of you when I was nervous, and it helped me remember the words." When did she stop seeing me as a person worthy of thanks? When did I become merely a funding source for her ambitions? My phone rang again. Emma's 14th call since our conversation ended. This time she left a voicemail. Dad, please answer. I have been thinking about what you said. I know I have not been grateful enough. I know I have taken you for granted. Michael's family is threatening to leave if we cannot explain the financial situation. I need to know what you want from me. What I wanted was 25 years of appreciation that would never come. What I needed was assurance that Emma understood the value of what she had casually discarded. I printed out the spreadsheet summary and organized the supporting documents into manila folders. Education, transportation, housing, personal expenses, wedding costs. Each folder was thick with evidence. It was love translated to dollars. Sacrifice measured in bank transfers. Tomorrow would bring conversations Emma was not prepared for. Questions about responsibility, accountability, and the true cost of entitlement. Tonight was for preparation. The documentation was spread across my desk like evidence in a court case. Almost $900,000 of support was provided without question, appreciation, or acknowledgement. Emma had lived like royalty while treating her benefactor like hired help. That arrangement was about to change. My phone vibrated one more time with Emma's name. I reached for it, then I stopped. Not yet. Let her understand what helplessness feels like. Let her taste the panic of financial dependency without a safety net. The education would continue in the morning. Sunday morning brought fresh March air and the kind of clarity that comes from exhaustive preparation. My briefcase was by the front door. It was loaded with 25 years of documented evidence. Richards and Associates had agreed to an emergency consultation at 9 a.m. It was a professional courtesy between business people who understood that some situations could not wait until Monday. The law office felt appropriately serious. Mahogany paneling, legal volumes lining the walls, certificates documenting decades of successful practice. Eleanor Richards herself greeted me in the conference room. Her silver hair and sharp suit projected the competence I needed. Mr. Clark, I have reviewed your preliminary documentation. This level of record keeping is exceptional. She spread my folders across the polished table. She scanned the financial summaries with practiced efficiency. Each page represented months of Emma's lifestyle. It was funded by my sacrifice. The total amount involved, nearly $900,000 over 25 years. That is substantial, even by our standards. I want this handled professionally, I said. I settled into the leather chair opposite her. There was no emotion, just business. Emma needs to understand the financial reality of what she has taken for granted. Eleanor nodded, taking notes on a yellow legal pad. The documentation supports reclassifying the gifts or establishing a promissory note. Given the pattern of escalating demands without reciprocal responsibility, we have multiple options for recovery. She outlined the strategy with surgical precision: a formal demand letter, a request for full reimbursement in 30 days, a detailed accounting of all expenses with supporting evidence, a clear timeline for response and negotiation, professional consequences for noncompliance. This approach transforms a family dispute into a business transaction. It is much cleaner for everyone. By 11 a.m., the documents were prepared. Official letterhead, formal language, serious implications. The demand was simple: $900,000 in reimbursement in 30 days, or legal proceedings would begin. I will arrange for delivery by messenger this afternoon. Signature required, creating an official record of receipt. I drove home with copies of everything. Satisfaction was mixed with sadness for the necessity of such measures. Emma had created this situation through years of entitlement. I was simply providing the consequences she had never faced. At 2:15 p.m. exactly, my phone rang. The messenger service was confirming delivery to room 1247 of the Grand Hotel. Signature of receipt by Emma Claros Anderson. The formal process had begun. I imagined Emma's confusion when the hotel reception called about a legal delivery. Her assumption that it was paperwork related to vendors. Michael taking charge as the responsible husband, breaking the official seal with typical arrogance. Then the understanding slowly dawning. The phone began to ring at 2:47 p.m. Emma's name flashed repeatedly on my screen. I let each call go to voicemail. Each message was more desperate than the last. Message 1. Dad, what is this legal document? This cannot be serious. Message 2. $900,000, that is impossible. You never said they were loans. Message 3. Please call me. Michael's family is asking questions I cannot answer. Message 4. Her voice broke. I do not understand how everything went so wrong, so fast. Emma and Michael were discovering what accountability looked like when it was backed by legal authority. 25 years of gifts had been reclassified as recoverable debt. Their financial dependency was now documented, quantified, and subject to collection procedures. The wedding disaster had been the opening act. This was the main event. Eleanor had explained the process clearly. Civil debt recovery follows standard procedures. They will need legal representation to respond appropriately. That costs money they do not have for a debt they cannot pay. One's frantic calls continued through the afternoon. 15 missed calls, 8 voicemails, each one revealing a deeper understanding of her helplessness. The woman who dismissed me from her wedding was beginning to comprehend what she had really discarded. The irony was perfect. Emma had spent 25 years taking my financial support for granted. Now she faced 30 days to repay it all with professional consequences for failure. My phone vibrated again. It was Emma's 16th call. This time I decided to answer. Dad, please, we need to talk about this reasonably. Emma's voice was breaking through the phone's speaker. Exhaustion was replacing yesterday's panic. This legal document cannot be real. Underestimated into my kitchen chair. My coffee was steaming beside me. Through the window, the Sunday afternoon in Los Angeles looked peaceful. Families were walking dogs, kids were riding bikes, normal people were living normal lives. The document is completely real, Emma, just like the 30 days you have to respond. Punished. But 900,000, that is impossible. You never said any of it was a loan. Minimize said it was a gift either. You simply assumed. In the background, I could hear Michael's voice. It was sharp with frustration. Paper was rustling, the sound of someone pacing. Emma, I need to understand something, I said. I kept my voice level. Who exactly do you plan to contact for help with this situation? Silence stretched between us. Then, family, friends, people who care about me? Foreground. Well, you have Avi. Well, you have 29 days remaining. I suggest you start making those calls. I ended the conversation and put my phone on silent. Let Emma discover what I already knew, that nearly $900,000 in debt would reveal exactly who was willing to help and who would politely decline. The phone lit up repeatedly throughout the afternoon. Emma's name appeared and disappeared on the screen like a distress signal. I let each call go unanswered, each voicemail go unheard. By nightfall, the calls had stopped. Monday morning brought a different kind of silence. No frantic texts from Emma, no desperate voicemails, just an unusual quiet that made me check my phone twice to ensure it was working. I drove to the construction site where we were breaking ground for a new office complex. Physical work had always helped me think clearly. The sound of machinery, the smell of fresh dirt, the satisfaction of building something solid and permanent. My foreman, John, walked up to me around 10 a.m. Boss, you seem different today. Everything okay? Family situation, I said, watching the excavator clear the foundation space. Sometimes you have to make hard decisions for people's own good. Kids? Something like that. My phone vibrated. A text message from Emma. Dad, I have been trying to contact family and friends. Everyone is shocked by the amount. Please call me. I deleted the message without responding. Another text arrived an hour later. Aunt Margaret says she cannot get involved, thinks I should learn responsibility. What does that even mean? Then another. Sarah is not taking my calls anymore. Lisa is asking questions about why I never worked. People are treating me like I did something wrong. The messages continued through the afternoon. Each one revealed Emma's growing isolation. Her college roommate was uncomfortable with the conversation. Her sorority sisters were stunned by the financial details. Her few remaining friends were unable to help with such amounts. Michael was having his own problems. His mother had apparently called 3 times demanding explanations. His father wanted a family meeting about reputation management. His brother was asking pointed questions about financial disclosure before marriage. By Tuesday, the pattern was clear. Emma's support network was collapsing under the weight of nearly $900,000 in debt. People who had enjoyed her generous, entertaining, and expensive gifts were suddenly unavailable when she needed financial assistance. The Wednesday message was different. Dad, Michael's family is pressuring him to consider an annulment. They think our marriage was based on financial deception. Please call me so we can fix this. I almost smiled. Michael's family was apparently quicker at recognizing reality than their son. The Thursday message was shorter. Nobody will help. Everyone has excuses. Michael barely speaks to me. His parents want him to see a lawyer about protecting his assets. I do not understand how everything changed so fast. 25 days remaining. Emma was learning what financial independence meant when you had never developed the skills to achieve it. The education was proceeding exactly as planned. The silence on Friday morning felt different. No text from Emma, no desperate voicemails, just an unusual quiet that made me check my phone twice to ensure it was working. The attack began on Monday. My assistant Laura knocked on my office door around 9 a.m. She held a printed email. There was obvious concern on her face. Mr. Clark, I received this inquiry from the Los Angeles Business Journal. They are asking about family issues affecting your business operations. I read the email twice. Professional language was masking pointed questions about my stability and treatment of family members. Someone had been making calls. Any idea how they found out? There is also this. Laura handed me her tablet. It was showing a Facebook post with over 200 shares. There was a wedding photo of Emma. She was beautiful and radiant. It was followed by emotional text describing a heartless father who had destroyed her special day. It now demanded impossible financial payments as punishment. The post painted me as an unstable man taking revenge on his daughter for perceived offenses. Hundreds of comments expressed shock and sympathy. Several tagged local business owners I had worked with for decades. My phone rang. It was Robert Martinez from Martinez Concrete, a 20-year business partner. David, I am seeing some concerning things online. People are saying you have issues with your daughter's wedding expenses. Robert, there is documentation that tells a very different story. Kriar, I hope so, because some are asking about your city contracts. You know how politics works here. Robert followed in an hour. All expressed concern. All asked careful questions about my state of mind and business decisions. Emma and Michael had been busy. I found Michael's strategy easy to follow. His family name opened doors in Los Angeles' social circles. The Anderson family connections reached country clubs, charity boards, and professional organizations where reputation mattered. They were using those connections to spread Emma's narrative of victimhood. Local Facebook groups buzzed with secondhand retellings of the story. Construction company owner demands $900,000 from daughter after ruining her wedding. Los Angeles businessman sues his own daughter for wedding expenses. Each retelling became more dramatic and more damaging. By noon, I had received 7 business-related calls expressing concern. The president of the Los Angeles Rotary Club wondered about my state of mind regarding upcoming community projects. 3 separate contractors mentioned hearing things that could affect our working relationships, had chosen their battlefield carefully. In a city like Los Angeles, reputation was currency. Destroy someone standing in the business community, and you destroy their livelihood. They had miscalculated one crucial factor. I drove home and pulled out the documentation Eleanor Richards had helped me organize. 25 years of financial records categorized and summarized. Every check, every payment, every expense Emma had never asked about or appreciated. Then I made my own calls. Eleanor, I need to schedule a press conference for tomorrow morning. We are going public with the complete financial documentation. Are you sure? Once this information is public, there is no going back. Emma and Michael made it public already. Now it is time for the truth. The next 6 hours were methodical preparation. I contacted the Los Angeles Business Journal directly, offering complete financial transparency. I called the 3 reporters Emma's campaign had reached out to, promising documented evidence that would tell the real story. Most importantly, I contacted 25 years of business partners, community leaders, and professional associates. People who had watched me build Clark Construction from nothing. People who had seen my dedication to both business and family for decades. John, I am calling everyone on our contractor list. There will be a story tomorrow that sets the record straight about the Emma situation. By nightfall, I had confirmation. The Los Angeles Business Journal would run a featured story. Local news stations agreed to cover the press conference. The documentation was copied and ready for distribution. Emma's attack had lasted 3 days. My response would last one morning. The truth, properly documented and professionally presented, would speak louder than social media manipulation and emotional appeals. 24 days remained on the legal deadline. By tomorrow afternoon, Emma would understand that destroying reputations was a game better played by people with actual substance to defend. Tuesday morning arrived with the precision of a construction schedule. At 9 a.m. exactly, I published 25 years of financial documentation across every platform Emma and Michael had polluted with their lies. The presentation was methodical, professional, undeniable. Bank statements showing $900,000 in payments over 25 years. Categorized spreadsheets breaking down education costs, transportation expenses, housing support, and lifestyle funding. Photographs of Emma at every stage of her spoiled life. Each image was paired with corresponding financial support. Complete transparency, 25 years of documented parental support, read the headline I chose. Below it was a comprehensive timeline showing Emma's progression from grateful child to entitled adult. Every dollar spent was documented and verified. The response was immediate. Within an hour, my phone began to ring. The voices were different this time. Not concerned, this time they were supportive. "David, I had no idea the extent of the support you provided," said Tom Bradley from Bradley Electric. "My kids are in college and I spend maybe $12,000 a year total. You spent that every semester." Robert Martinez called back. "I owe you an apology. After seeing those bank records, I understand exactly what you are dealing with. That level of entitlement would break any parent." Unless the social media momentum shifted like a reverse avalanche, comments that had supported Emma's victim narrative suddenly looked naive against the backdrop of financial reality. Screenshots of bank statements showing $50,000 in annual tuition. Receipts for 3 different luxury cars. 28 years of housing, clothing, and lifestyle expenses that most families would consider impossible to afford. Eleanor Richards called at 11 a.m. "David, the response has been extraordinary. The Los Angeles Business Journal wants to run a feature story about financial responsibility and entitlement. You have managed to turn a reputation attack into a moment of community education." By noon, Emma's original Facebook posts looked pathetic against the mountain of evidence I provided. People were sharing my documentation with comments like, "This is what real parental sacrifice looks like, and no wonder he is seeking reimbursement. This level of support is a full-time job." The Los Angeles construction community rallied completely. Contractors who had questioned my stability were now sharing stories about my work ethic and integrity. The Rotary Club president issued a public statement supporting my position. Even the mayor's office released a comment about the importance of financial responsibility in family relationships. John texted me from the construction site. "Boss, the crew is all talking about your situation. They all have your back. Nobody can believe what Emma put you through." Local news stations picked up the story as a human interest piece about parental sacrifice and accountability. The documented evidence made their job easy. They simply had to present the facts and let viewers draw their own conclusions. Emma's attack had backfired spectacularly. Her portrayal of victimhood could not survive contact with 25 years of documented financial reality. The community that had briefly questioned my stability now questioned hers. Michael's family connections worked against them. Now their social circle saw exactly what kind of people they had welcomed into their network. The Anderson family credibility was being used to spread lies about a respected businessman who had simply documented the truth. By nightfall, the narrative had completely reversed. Emma and Michael were not victims of a cruel father. They were entitled individuals who had attacked a generous parent when he finally set boundaries. The documentation told a story that emotional manipulation could not counteract. Every bank statement was a chapter in 25 years of sacrifice. Every receipt was evidence of love taken for granted. My phone vibrated with a text from Emma. "Dad, please take down those financial records. People are saying terrible things about us." I deleted the message without responding. 23 days remaining. The education was almost complete. Michael's phone rang at 6:47 on Wednesday morning. It yanked us both from a restless sleep. The hotel room felt smaller with each passing hour. It was filled with the weight of social media catastrophe and mounting financial pressure. "Michael, it is your father?" The voice came through the speaker. It carried unmistakable authority. "We need to talk immediately." Emma watched Michael's face pale as he listened to demands she could not quite hear. His answers were clipped and defensive. "Yes, I understand the implications. No, I did not know the extent of the documentation. The situation is more complicated than anticipated." The conversation lasted 12 minutes. When Michael hung up, he stared at the phone for a long moment before speaking. "My family wants me to come home. Today." "Home?" "Michael, this is temporary. My father will calm down once." "Emma, stop." His voice carried a finality she had never heard before. "My father received calls yesterday from 3 different business partners asking about family issues. The country club is buzzing with gossip about the Anderson family's association with financial fraud." "Fierno financial fraud? That is ridiculous. This is a family dispute that got out of control." Formulate began pulling clothes from drawers. He stuffed them into his suitcase with sharp, angry movements. "Your father published bank records showing nearly $900,000 in support you never acknowledged. To my family's social circle, that looks like deception at best and manipulation at worst." Emma felt panic rising in her chest like ice water. "You are leaving? We have been married for 6 days. 6 days that have destroyed my professional reputation and my family's standing in the community." Michael's packing became more aggressive. "I have a trust fund, Emma, business prospects, a future that depends on maintaining certain relationships." "What about our relationship? What about our wedding vows?" Michael stopped packing and looked at her directly for the first time since the call. "What marriage? You brought me into a financial mess without warning. Your father is demanding almost $900,000 in reimbursement and you have no way to pay it. My family lawyer says I need to protect myself from potential liability." "Liability? I am your wife." "Erden, you are a financial burden. You have no assets." Ords hit Emma like physical blows. "My family cannot afford to be associated with this level of scandal. Emma, dear, Michael needs to come home. Family obligations. You understand?" His mother's voice on the phone was courteous. It somehow made it worse. Even Michael's mother, who had praised Emma's grace and beauty at the wedding, was cutting ties with surgical precision. "Michael, please. We can work through this together. My dad is angry, but he loves me. This will blow over." Emma looked around. Michael gestured to his laptop. It was open to devastating social media comments. "This is not blowing over. Your father published financial records going back 25 years. People are calling you a trust fund kid who never worked a day in her life. They are right. The accusation hurt because it was accurate." Emma had never held a job for more than 6 months. She never contributed financially to her own support. She never questioned where her comfortable lifestyle came from. "I was being a daughter. Daughters are supposed to be supported by their fathers. Unmarried, not to the tune of nearly $900,000 over 25 years, not without gratitude or reciprocity." Michael closed his suitcase. "My family runs in circles where people contribute to society. They build businesses, support charities, create value. What have you created besides expenses?" Emma felt something break inside her chest. It was not just her marriage, but her understanding of herself and her place in the world. "Where will I go? I do not have money for tonight's hotel bill. My credit cards are maxed out. Everyone has stopped talking to me." Masieber paused in the doorway. His hand was on the doorknob. "Call your father. Apologize. Take responsibility. Maybe he will help you figure out how to become an actual adult." "Michael, please. Do not leave me alone." "Al, Emma, I have been alone in this marriage since it began. You never contributed anything except expectations and expenses." His voice softened slightly. "Maybe losing everything will teach you something your father's money never could." The door closed behind him with devastating finality. Emma stared at the hotel room. It suddenly felt vast and empty. Her wedding dress still hung in the closet. It was a reminder of 6 days that had destroyed her entire life. She had no husband, no family support, no friends, and no money. For the first time in 29 years, Emma Claros Anderson was completely alone. She picked up her phone. She slid to a number she had not dialed since that first desperate Saturday. Her father's contact information appeared on the screen like a lifeline, one she was not sure she deserved to grab. 22 days remained to find nearly $900,000. She needed to find it to rebuild the relationship she had destroyed. She needed to become someone she had never been before. The phone rang once before a familiar voice answered. "Hello, Emma." His voice did not carry the warmth she had grown up with, but it was not cruel either. It was just calm acknowledgement that his daughter was finally calling after losing everything. "Dad," the word came out broken. It was barely above a whisper. "I do not know where to begin." "Start with the truth. Do you understand what happened this week?" I looked around the hotel room. I noticed Michael's absence. I saw the screen of my laptop, still showing hundreds of comments condemning my behavior. The weight of 29 years of entitlement and thoughtlessness collapsed like a crumbling building. I lost everything. My husband left me this morning. His family has completely cut me off. I do not have money for tonight's hotel bill. My voice broke. Everyone hates me. Do you understand why? The question hung in the air like a challenge. For 29 years, I had blamed others for my problems, made excuses, found someone else responsible for every consequence. Not this time, because I treated you like a bank account instead of a person, because I never appreciated what you sacrificed for me, because I was selfish and entitled and cruel. Silence stretched between us. I could hear him breathing. He was considering my words. "Continue." "Norwich, I saw the financial records you posted. $900,000 over 25 years. I never asked where the money came from. I never thanked you properly. I never thought about what you were giving up to provide for me." Tears came freely now. They were the first genuine tears I had cried since this began. "I dismissed you from my own wedding, a wedding you paid for in full. What else? Can't go destroy your reputation when you stood up to me. I lied about you on social media. I got Michael's family to spread rumors about your character. The admissions felt like removing poison from an infected wound. I became everything that is wrong with spoiled kids who never grow up." "Emma," his voice softened slightly, "do you remember when you were 8, after your mother died? You would hug me every night and tell me I was the best dad in the world." "I remember." Stormed, "I wanted to give you everything because I loved you. But somewhere along the way, giving you everything became the reason you stopped loving me back." "I never stopped loving you, Dad. I just stopped showing it. I stopped being grateful. I stopped being a daughter and became a consumer." "What do you want from me now?" The question terrified me. It was not just about immediate help. It was about what kind of relationship we could have going forward. "I want to earn your respect. I want to become the daughter you deserve to have. I want to learn to be an adult who contributes instead of just taking." I wiped my eyes with the back of my hand, but first I need help to survive long enough to prove I can change. "What kind of help?" "I need enough money to stay at the hotel one more week while I find a job. Any job. I need a chance to prove I can support myself." His one time, "There will be conditions." "Kang anything. You will find employment in 2 weeks. I do not care if it is cleaning offices or waiting tables. Pride is a luxury you cannot afford anymore." "I understand. Risaber, no financial requests for 6 months. Prove you can live on what you earn. Unbearable, yes. We will speak once a week, but our conversations will be between 2 adults, not between a father and a dependent daughter. Do you want that?" "I want that. I want to earn the right to be your daughter again." "Emma, I am going to transfer $900 to your account. That will cover this hotel for a week in basic groceries. After that, you are on your own." "Toniko, Dad, thank you. I know I do not deserve this." "You are right, you do not. But everyone deserves a chance to grow up, even at 29. His voice carried both severity and hope. "Emma, I have always loved you. Now I want to see if I can respect you too. I will not let you down. Not again." "We will see. I love you, honey." The call ended, but for the first time in a week, I felt something other than despair. It was not relief exactly, but possibility. the chance to become someone worthy of respect. 21 days to prove I could change, a lifetime to earn back what I had thrown away. I opened my laptop and started searching for jobs in Los Angeles. Every entry-level position looked intimidating for someone who had never really worked, but intimidating was better than impossible. For the first time in my life, I was going to earn something for myself. The education had finally begun.